Hult Prize Nigeria Podcast.
Hi, innovators, change makers, and global leaders. My name is Simon Olomu, and I'm your host for the Hult Prize Podcast. Here on Hult Prize Podcast, we spotlight innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership. It's a platform for bold ideas, for leading questions, and for stories of resilience and grit. So, watch this space. Today, we are joined by Yemisi Ajeojo, a business strategist and impact investment advisor who is dedicated to building inclusive and sustainable ecosystems for African businesses. Yemisi leads Thrift Africa, promoting financial inclusion, investors' readiness, and digital literacy for underserved micro and small enterprises, MSMEs. She's also the founder of Idea to Funded, a venture lab that helps early-stage startups access funding, and she also leads Accounts, a BPO firm supporting fintechs and startups. She is a World Economic Forum Global Shapers and one Young World Ambassador. Yemisi continues to drive conversations around entrepreneurship and fintech inclusion across the continent. You're welcome on the call, man. Also, yes, we'll be talking about your journey. We'll be talking about the conversations you've led across the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And we'll also be talking about your motivation, and particularly we'll be pinpointing what you are currently looking forward to see at the Hult Prize National Competition happening this April and May. So yes, Ma, just to start, we start from the beginning and just trace us back to the beginning, to the very beginning, your journey, how you get to where you are currently, and yes, just run us through
that. That's a very long story. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of the amazing work that you've been doing over the last few years for young social entrepreneurs in Nigeria and across the world, really. So I would define my work currently as working with for-profits, non-profits, and government organizations in both Nigeria and pretty much globally to strengthen entrepreneurship and enable access to finance for business owners. And this pretty much started in 2015. So slightly over 10 years ago now. I've always had a passion for supporting business owners. And when I was a student in the UK, I launched a social enterprise which provided trainings, events, mentorship support for student entrepreneurs in the UK. And then when I moved back to Nigeria, I set up Thrift Africa with the goal of providing social entrepreneurs or nano and micro business owners with funding that they needed to grow, because a lot of them could not access funding from traditional financial institutions. While doing that, I realized that for a lot of these people, access to funding was not the major problem. It was poor financial management and poor digital literacy. So, for instance, we've seen how something as small as teaching a business owner how to use WhatsApp for business can accelerate their revenue by over 200%. Or how giving someone a tool to keep track of their numbers can significantly improve the quality of decision-making they are doing for their businesses. And so I launched Thrift Africa. Most of what we're doing was helping nano and micro businesses be a part of community and get the knowledge that they needed to build sustainable businesses. So thinking about what they're doing beyond the day-to-day hustle and how it is a key part of the Nigerian economy. And so getting the right knowledge, applying it within a community can significantly improve their impact and their contribution for their families, their local communities, and the country at large. And then I launched what I called a Ilorin Digital Summit as well. This was in 2018. The goal was just to teach people digital skills. I realized I was doing my youth service in Kwara State. A lot of amazing young people, not a lot of opportunities for them to productively engage themselves. And I know that for me, I always say, if I have power, internet, and a phone or a laptop, I'll most likely not be broke because there are so many things that you can learn or do to make money. And I wanted more young people to have this knowledge. So I did the Lorraine Digital Summit, which brought in over 1,000 people from different parts of the North Central and from Western Nigeria. We had 2 editions of that summit. From that summit, we went on to do other training and mentorship program for young people and business owners, promoting digital inclusion, teaching them how to gain relevant digital skills and how to apply it to improve their productivity. We set up a hub and so on. Then in 2020, I started working with accelerator and incubator programs supporting entrepreneurs across Africa. I did some work with the UK Nigeria Tech Hub, Future Female Business School, Leap Africa, and the Impact Amplifier, currently doing some work with CC Hub. So from 2020 to date, I've probably worked with over 30 accelerator incubator programs supporting entrepreneurs across Africa, whether it is nano and micro businesses, helping them go from informal to formal, or early stage startups and or tech-enabled MSMEs, helping them to become financial investment ready, improve their financial management, leverage digital tools to optimize performance, enter new markets, increase their revenue, and so on. So the bulk of my work really is how do we support entrepreneurs to succeed? In addition to that, I have lately been doing a lot of work around policy design, working with policymakers. So beyond just offering this training, so offering money, a lot of the things that drive how successful these initiatives are or not is policy, right? What's the political climate like? Who are the people leading? What kind of decisions are they driving and enabling? So a good part of my work now is engaging with policymakers to design systems, frameworks that improves ease of doing business and access to finance for business owners in Nigeria and across Africa. I also recently launched accounts less than a year ago. So one of the biggest problems that I saw with becoming investment ready or financial management was an entrepreneur is already doing a lot of things, especially a solo business owner, someone just starting out, right? You have to figure out your product market fit. You have to do marketing. You have to do branding. You have to manage your team. But a key thing that businesses need to really succeed is proper financial management. And so I'm very passionate about creating jobs as well. So we set up accounts to create jobs for students, young people, women, while providing financial management services to business owners. So for us, we think if we're able to train people with the right skill to provide accounting, bookkeeping, financial services to business owners, we'll be able to create jobs because there are so many businesses who need the service. So we train people and then we match them with jobs. And then these businesses now have proper financial management. Recently saved a client over ₦1 million in compliance fees. We're able to sort out their taxes. Because they are more compliant and have better financial management systems in place, they're also able to get funding. Yes, that's the bulk of my work. That's the history as succinct as possible. I hope that provides you some clarity.
All right. Thank you so much for expatiating on that. And from what I heard you talk about, you are solving a real problem from solving the problem of like access to funding. And you noted that the problem is not actually access to funding. The problem is how these people manage like the financial management, poor financial management and poor business models that they have. And from what you know, the informal economy, I mean, the small and medium enterprises, they are the drivers, they are the major drivers of the economy. And it is very important that we engage them properly. And I feel that is a very great problem. And just to be Hult Prize specific, Hult Prize is about young innovators, about young people that are building social enterprises across Nigerian universities. And just yesterday, let me say, just this afternoon, we posted about one of our startups that won a ₦2 million grant from an hackathon from Carvista Technologies and all of that. And there are a lot of all of these startups that are also across Nigerian universities. So we'll be hosting about 46 universities this year. And one thing I've noticed as a trend is the fact that after most of these startups come on board and they pitched during the Hult Prize competition, and then after the competition, most of them are actually not doing anything except from few of them. I understand the aspect of people not really being passionate about the particular problem they are trying to solve, but some of them that are passionate about, they are unable to navigate their ways around getting funding, around scaling their ideas. So how do you think young persons can approach scaling ideas at the early stage, particularly ideas that are how do they call it? That are funding, that actually needs funding to start. Yeah.
Okay. So the funding climate has changed a lot lately. So people want to see some kind of proof of work or proof of concept. There are multiple ways to solve this. The first one that I would say is mentorship and capacity building can go a long way. If you have an idea and the reason why you're not doing anything about the idea is because nobody has given you money, there's a very good chance that nobody would ever give you money for that idea. But if you're able to access the right knowledge, mentorship that can help you launch that idea in some way, it may not be the exact format, but so maybe create an MVP that kind of shows, one, the potential of that idea, and two, your dedication to the idea. It is much more possible for people to give you money, right? When there is proof that this idea can actually work, and there is proof that you are the best person to be building that idea. But if you're saying, oh, nobody has given me money, that's why I'm not doing it, that is already a red flag to me if I wanted to give you money. So I always want to know, okay, you need however amount you need for this idea. The thing is, you can even get that money and not be able to launch the idea because you don't have clarity of your target audience, so even clarity of how to generate revenue from the idea. But if you get some trainings, and that's why I'm very passionate about training program, accelerator program, incubator program, mentorship, because I've seen how it has significantly transformed business owners, businesses, right, and even puts them on the right path to getting additional supports that they need for the next phase of their business. I hope that has answered your question.
What role do you think digital literacy actually play in helping young entrepreneurs, particularly from Hult Prize Nigeria? Personally, for me, I know it plays an important role, and I don't know if you can actually be data or statistic specific from your work at Thrift Africa, what we've been able to do differently, and probably how numbers have actually shown your impact. How many SMEs have you actually reached out to with digital literacy initiatives, and what has the results been?
So I talked about how something as small as teaching a business owner how to use WhatsApp for business can significantly improve their revenue by over 200%. So digital literacy is important as it enables people to access markets, right? I always say, oh, you can be in Casina and making sales to people in London because you have a smartphone and you're on Instagram, right? You're also able to improve your digital, your operations with digital tools. Now we have AI, which pretty much reduces the cost of launching your business because you can set up a tool with less than $20 and it's able to do the work of 5 people that will probably have cost you up to ₦1 billion, right? So it is making work more efficient. It is improving access to new markets. In terms of financial management as well, you're able to use digital tools to keep your books. You're able to quickly analyze the numbers, improve decision-making, improve your access to funding. In the last maybe 10 years, probably worked with over 30,000 entrepreneurs across Africa. introducing them to digital tools. I used to be a Facebook Boost Your Business trainer, as well as other social media platforms. I even have a book on social media and how young graduates can leverage it for career opportunities and so on. So being able to leverage digital tools and knowing the impact that it can make in the life of a young person is a key part of the work that I've done over the last 10 years.
Thank you so much for that. I was able to hear like everything you mentioned. So I'm happy to hear that you're actually working particularly with young people, and young people who are working in the SME, who are SME, small and medium enterprises. So in your experience, so what's the most effective way you have helped startup become investment ready? I know I asked a question earlier about how do you think young persons that are just starting out can approach gain and all of that. So how do you think they can be investment ready? What do you think they should be thinking of at the early stage? And in your own experience, what do you think has actually worked for most of the people or SMEs you actually advise?
I mentioned the accounting agency that I launched a year ago. If you're in an existing business, one of the key things that any investor will be looking at is how you currently manage your money and how you keep your books, right? Because that, to a large extent, shows how serious you are about your business and how compliant you are with your business. Even currently, I'm in the process of wrapping up a 2 weeks training for middle-aged women in Abuja, and the focus of that training has been on financial management. So teaching them things like how to keep their books, manage their cash flow, interpret financial statements, create forecasts, and all of that. And the goal is that at the end of the training, they're able to get funding and they're able to create jobs within their local communities by applying what they've learned from the training, right? And I have loads of materials online for anyone looking to get funding. We have the free funding checklist. By next week, we'll be launching an investment readiness tool, which has been gamified. You go through the questions. It weighs where you are in terms of investment readiness and then guides you on next step, right? Or how we can support you with next step. For me, it is the first thing is, does this person have clarity of their idea? Can they talk about what this product really is and who it is for? Do they have a good idea of the size of this market? Because if you're asking me to give you, say, 10 million, and your goal is to reach 10,000 people in the next 1 year, but the size of that market is 500 people, it's already a red flag for me that you don't understand your markets. And if you don't understand your market, you're probably over assuming how successful this business can be. So how are you demonstrating? Do you really understand the problem that you're solving? How are you testing out the solution that you've created to solve this problem? And what are the successes that you're already beginning to see? Do you understand the size of your market? Then if you're an existing business, how compliant are you? Do you have the right certifications, the right tools? Do you have the right, do you have proper financial management system? Do you have your tax clearance? Do you have your licenses? All of those. Then your team structure. Do you have the right team, or are you the right person to be building this idea? What knowledge, what skill do you have? And skill can be both soft or technical skill. So you may have an idea that is very technical, you're not a technical person, but you have strong management skill, you have strong sales skill, so you know how to push the product and all of that, right? If you're not the only person building the product, do you have the right people on the team building the product with you? Then PR and your brand matters a lot as well. So if I search for you or your business online, what is going to come up? What am I going to see? Then your pricing as well, right? Are you setting the right price for this product or this service based on your market analysis, based on your target audience? Again, this speaks to your knowledge of the market. This speaks to your knowledge of the problem that you're solving and who you're solving it for. So off the top of my head, those are kind of key things that point to investment readiness. Them having able to demonstrate clarity of idea and the market, being able to demonstrate that you're the right person to be building this business, or you have the right thing that you're building this business with, your financial management, your legal compliance, and even like your financial projections, things around pricing, understanding your market sizing, and so on. So all of this shows if this business would most likely succeed and if you're the best person to be building this particular idea out or not.
You mentioned is the fact that one of the things that stood out for me that you need to build with the right people. You need to have like a team that makes things work for you. And personally, for me, in 2024, we built this smart bin in a way to it's a waste monitoring scheme. You know, the way people just dispose of their waste and start calling Loma people to come and pack it up and all of the whole process is always very stressful. And this actually leads to like overwhelming bins. You have to be seen before these people come. I think they come about 2 weeks, every 2 weeks or every week. And then the major problem we're trying to solve then was to create this sort of a waste monitoring scheme whereby we manage the entire waste cycle for people. Whenever your bin is filled up, we get an alert on our phone, we get a message that the bin at number 25 is already filled up and we know when to go there to pick it up. So we manage your entire waste cycle for you. Why yours is just to dispose of your waste and fold your hands, right? So, and we built a prototype. And personally, we built a prototype with almost, I think, $300. We built a prototype with $300. That is already capital intensive. Personally, for us, we could not replicate that prototype in 10 other places. That will make us going out there to search for loans or probably a grant or an investor funding the project moving forward and all of that. Though we tried to source for investors, but at the end of the day, nothing was, and there's no way we could have started this whole idea small. So I'm drawing from the fact that you mentioned that we need to work with the right set of people. Probably, if we have somebody who knows about how the venture capitalist, the seed funding ecosystem works better, we could have navigated our way. I think that's a very valid point. I stand to be corrected, actually. And you also mentioned you need to be visible. That talks more about public relations and PR rather. Like when people go on search engine like Google, what they can find about your company or about your product actually matters too. So yes, those are very valid points. So that being said, Ma, you will be participating in the Hult Prize competition as a judge, and you will be liaising with a number of young people who are building solutions across Nigerian universities. So what do you look forward to, like in terms of startups? What kind of ideas are you looking forward to, and what do you think is going to pique your interest?
So ideas that I'm looking forward to would be ideas that have potential to solve key social problems and create jobs. These are things that are important to me right now. How is this idea addressing a social issue in a profitable way and creating jobs? So those are ideas that I'm really looking for, especially issues in Nigeria. So you're able to solve a problem that a number of people have. You're able to show clearly how you can create revenue from it and create jobs, especially for young people and women. That would definitely pique my interest.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Hult Prize Nigeria's podcast. So I think this should be the end of the engagement.
Thank you so much.
And have a nice day, ma'am.
Enjoy the rest of your day. And